Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. I'm not sure what time zone you're plugging into this from. I'm hosting on behalf of Ben today, who is traveling, who is in Paris, I believe, this weekend. I was asked by Ben if I would, in fact, cover some of the ground of what I've been doing with respect to my product launch. I'm going to ask whoever's typing away on their computer to stop or to mute yourself. Or I guess I can mute everybody. I'd rather not, because this is going to be a little bit of feedback. Some of you guys are doing product launches. You might have some questions. I want to make sure we have a chance to answer them in the few minutes that we have today. Okay, whoever's typing away on your computer, I can hear you. So can everyone else. Please be aware of your surroundings, your environment, what you're doing. You're Niken professionals. So, as I guess, Rachel, you're the first one who sort of pointed that out. So I'm just going to ask the question of you. What are you noticing with respect to, or what are you gaining from your perspective on the product launches that you've been seeing me do? Just some of the bullets that are coming at you, some of the ideas that are hitting you.
Well, for me, mostly what I'm seeing there, Michael, is a lot of attendance and energy towards it. And I mean, like, it was great to see Ann McNabb. I haven't seen her in a long time, but just, you know, it looks like there's an event going on and it's important and it's kind of a major movement. That's what I like about it.
Okay. Anyone else? Thank you. Impressions from anyone else?
Want to join?
Any impressions from anyone else? Last call.
We had a launch last Saturday, and we were really expecting about a half a dozen people, and we provided for a half a dozen, and it was over 30 people that showed up. Yay! Tremendous success for us, and it just shows you that advertising and talking about it and asking people to invite other people, people are interested in things that are happening and they're interested in their health, so they end up showing up. So it was a tremendous revelation for us.
Fantastic. Wow, that's great news. Again, I'm sort of trying to keep that's sort of a consequence maybe of some of the activity that's going on, but I want to sort of keep the focus on what impression are you getting from the posts that you're seeing. I guess that's the primary way you're seeing what's going on in Canada. Anyone else? Hey guys, I'm going to ask you to mute out unless you're going to speak, please. Go ahead. I saw somebody raise their hand. Okay, well, let me just pick up from there. I'm hoping what you're seeing is, or the impression that it's creating is having an effect on your activities and your launch, as just was explained by Charles. Essentially, it was an on-purpose marketing campaign. And I want to just highlight some of the things that were done purposefully so that you can extract from that and apply it yourself. There was a few key components to this, starting with, first and foremost, the idea of committing to a Canada-wide launch. The idea that I shared in San Antonio was the pebble in a pond. When I first initiated my Niken business, in January of '92, I had a pre-launch window of about 2 weeks in December, but we went into the month of January with a full calendar of events to really kick up the heat and the activity level and the impression that, you know, there was a new kid in town, there was a new happening going on. And we used every tool at our disposal to create marketing and promotion around that, including national ad campaigns in the 3 major newspapers across Canada announcing the launch of the Japanese giant. So the idea was to create a splash, get on a conscious level and a subconscious level, there was a happening going on. And in order to create that impression, now in the world of social media, newspaper advertising doesn't have nearly the impact as social media does, or the range. So the first thing I thought to do was find out who on my team was willing to host a product launch and gather up that data. And to date, we've added product launches through the course of that activity because people realized, hey, there's stuff happening. People were jumping on board this. And the more it looked like an organized campaign, an organized effort, the more volunteers jumped in on having their own product launch, and the more individually sponsored product launches. In other words, instead of doing one, some people were doing several. In fact, we have 9 alone in the province of Quebec, which is that's a huge level of activity. I'm told that sales are already up about 14-15% in Canada just as a result of those first 2 weeks of this. So we're really on track to create that impression that we've been looking to create with our business. So it was a calculated thing. Now, once I had an understanding of who was going to do what, the next thing I wanted to do was brand it. I wanted to create a visual of the event so that everyone's event looked the same, felt the same. So it was a branding effort. I got a flyer sent to me from Ben that he was using for his event in the UK. And I'm sorry, I'm just going to have to mute. There's a lot of background noise here. Okay, and you can unmute yourself as you please. So anyway, I got this flyer sent to me from Ben, and if you like, what I can do is I can retrace it, send it back to Ben. I'm going to be traveling this week, and he can put it on his Dropbox. It's easy to share. It's just a link. If you send an email, then you can copy that link and send that link out, and anyone who has access to the link can download that file. But it's just a template. You can edit your own event if you want to use that, what you've been seeing on Facebook that we've been posting. So the idea of creating a branding effect is like many pebbles in the pond at the same time. So it wasn't just one pebble in the pond. Now you're seeing many pebbles in the pond at the same time. The look, the feel, the impression that this is making on social media is that there's really something going on in Canada. There's a lot of activity going on. And so that was the next piece of it, was to create a PDF flyer that I could then also do a screen capture of, which, by the way, the simple way of doing that is email the PDF flyer to your smartphone, take a screen, click on it, look at it, take a screen capture of the image on your smartphone, and then crop it. Crop page 1 and page 2 as you choose, and then you will have 2 very distinct JPEG images of the page 1 and page 2 of this flyer that you can then post to Facebook. And what I did was I was posting several of the events at a time, but adding as more events were being added to the itinerary, as the dates were being firmed up, as the locations were being firmed up. And again, another impression. The impression is there's more. Oh my God, there's even more. They're not done yet. There's more being added. And so again, it was all part of creating the impression that something is going on because they're keeping on adding to this thing. So it's creating a bigness to it. Every one of the things that I've talked about, specifically the PDFs, I was emailing to my organization as well. And now I email the day before the event a reminder of the event through using the PDF to my organization. As well, the impressions that each of the hosts are leaving with their warm market by rebroadcasting or reposting those images of the flyer that they have that they're able to take from my Facebook posts. They can just copy those images onto their iPhone or whatever and then repost them on their own personal Facebook page. So that's creating impressions, eyeballs and impressions. Let's see, what else? The other thing, and probably the biggest thing, is on the day of. So wherever I am on the day of, I do a live video on Facebook. You've probably seen it. And what that's doing is, again, heightening the excitement, the energy, but now you're catching it live as it's happening. It's good to be spontaneous so that, you know, it's just spontaneous for you and for the people you're featuring in your live broadcast. And then, of course, because that's recorded, it's going to be posted on your Facebook page, which again goes out to all of your people. You can hashtag Niken, as Niken's asking us to do that for the world headquarters. That way you've got a video of your event, promoting your event, at your event, prior to your event. I mean, whatever impressions you can create. If it's just one event that you're going to be doing, you might want to do 2 or 3 lead-up posts to that event, as a countdown, 5 days to go, 3 days to go. This is all marketing and promotion, which really is going to add fuel to the fire, even if it's just for your own warm market. But the other thing I'd like to recommend you do, and I've encouraged my organization to do this, is share the posts that you're seeing. If you're watching one of those videos and you like it and you think that's exciting, share it. I know that a lot of us in Niken have at least grown aware of liking something on Facebook. But what you need to know is liking does absolutely nothing for marketing and promotion. I want to repeat that. Liking an image does absolutely nothing for marketing and promotion. So if you think you've accomplished something by liking a picture from Niken headquarters or liking a picture or a video that you've seen, it's doing nothing. What you want to do is share it. Share it. That's how it gets distributed to your warm market and leaves an impression where they're concerned. Now, why would you want to share a video from another launch site? Well, I think it should be obvious. It's like a commercial of things to come. You see the excitement, you see the energy, and then you can also add, whenever you share a post, it gives you the opportunity to add your own words to it. And so you could add that you've got a product launch coming up in a matter of hours or a matter of days. So it's just a simple mini commercial that you're leveraging somewhat of a testimony. I would also suggest whatever your video is, when you do your Niken live video, Facebook live video, keep it short and sweet. Nobody wants to sit through an hour. Keep it 2 to 3 minutes tops. Shorter the better. That way you capture that excitement and enthusiasm very, very quickly. The other thing I've noticed with Facebook Live is the sound doesn't track as well as the video. So there's often either a little bit of a gap between the sound and the video, and especially at the beginning of your recording. So when you go live, I found that it's usually taken a few seconds before my sound is actually being recorded along with the video. Hence, you've been seeing me do this, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then I start talking because for some reason that seems to work a lot better than me just starting to talk. I don't know why, but that's just the way it's been for me. So those are a few of the ideas around how to campaign your event and how to create a professionalism around your event so that you can have a higher yield or higher expectation as a result of that. And on a bigger scale, on a larger scale where we're concerned in Niken, just like in the case with Charles in Montreal, he's planning based on his personal efforts, half a dozen people or so, and he gets 30 people. Where did they all come from? They obviously came from the multitude of impressions that were left in the overall marketplace with people knowing that event was happening, even though he didn't necessarily know. By the way, each of the flyers that I've posted have an RSVP. So they're supposed to RSVP, but what I found as I've been traveling is they don't all RSVP, but they do know where the event is and when it's happening. And I don't think we're going to turn anybody away that shows up to an event unexpectedly. So that's my take on marketing and promoting our events. And that doesn't have to be just a Niken product launch. It could be any event that you're about to host, a business event of any kind, an in-home of any kind. If you've seen my videos, many of the presentations I'm doing are in-home. I did mine in my home. The venue is not as important as the energy that's created by the atmosphere of the people. I want to make one recommendation as well to all of you who are doing product launches. I found that the more contact people have with the new product, the sooner, the more likely you're going to get a testimony on the spot. And don't ever let anybody leave without having experienced it. They need to feel that there's something that happens when the contact is made with the product. It creates an impression. And so it's real important that we create an impression while we have people's attention and their time. So get that product in circulation, even if it preempts the actual video launch. Make sure that everybody at your event is exposed to it, feels it, put it on their shoulder, put it on their neck, until you feel them go, oh, something like that, you haven't done the job. Let them feel that, because they're going to walk away feeling that. They may not place an order necessarily, but you will create an impression. And so it may be followed up. And I usually give people 24 hours to decide if they want to go ahead and place an order for their launch pack. So fortunately, I did mine on Friday. I didn't send my launch orders in until Monday. I don't know if there's anything else. Any questions out there? Unmute yourself if you have a question for me. Or if you've had a launch and you found that there's a certain thing that has worked really, really well for you in terms of order placement. There's a question about wholesale or retail. I hope you guys have sorted that one out as to how to place the order, depending on who you're speaking to, because there are going to be some customers in the audience, and you want to make sure that you're customer-centric where this is concerned. Any questions? Any thoughts?
Mike, did you keep that launch order form showing both retail and wholesale on it?
No, I didn't. I whited out the wholesale prices.
Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome. Anyone else?
Yes, Mike. Is there any stipulation on how much time we have to send the applications in? Not the applications, but the orders in. Do we have 24 hours? Do we have 2 days? Does NECAN?
Honestly, I don't know if there is a requirement. There was an email sent out by Pat. I think the only requirement is that the people had to have been at the event.
Okay.
And so, it does take sometimes a day or two for people to gather their resources, their finances, to arrange whatever they've got to arrange. So that's totally acceptable in my opinion.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Mike, it's Michelle. I was told I could answer that question. I was told by Pat within a couple of days of the event to have our orders in, and all orders have to be sent in one package. So you can't send like a half a dozen orders today and then a half a dozen tomorrow. It all has to be done under one package.
And what I did, thanks Michelle, what I also did was I scanned my orders and sent them via email to Pat. That's a little bit more convenient. And I did it in bulk. As they came in, I gathered them, scanned them. So I had like 3 or 4 different scans that they all went in one email. Any other questions?
Mike,
yes.
This is Barb, and the fax number on the form is not the right fax. If anybody's faxing,
okay,
it needs to be 949-789-2081.
Thanks for that.
949-789-2081 to Pat.
Excellent. Any other thoughts or questions about the launch? So again, I want to remind you that this idea, this becoming a little bit more sophisticated in your approach to marketing and promoting your events. It could be an online event that you're hosting. I know Rachel does a lot of online events on NECAN Live, and others are doing the same thing through Zoom, etc. Whatever your event might be, the first thing I would do is create an impression. So I like branding. Branding is important. It's worth finding somebody, because they're not expensive. It's worth finding a graphic artist who can help you take your idea and turn it into a proper promotional piece. You can take images from my NECAN in your back office. You can take images from just about anywhere and create a marketing and promotion piece. If you find somebody, you send them the details, they can do the editing, and it might cost you maybe $50 to $100, but you'll get a lot of mileage out of that piece. And especially if you ask them to do it in a Word document where you can modify details. So for instance, let's say it's a preview, a standard preview that you're doing, and the dates change. Well, maybe you just have that document such that you just change the date. And now that you know, if you save a Word document, you can actually save as a PDF. So whatever your Word document is, once you've made your edit, save as a PDF. Now it's a PDF. You email that PDF to yourself, and you can do a screen capture of the image, and now you have a picture of it that you can post on social media of your upcoming event. It's really, really worth the level of doing that type of thing. I usually capture also images from Nikken or wherever I find it online through my phone, and I keep those things for future reference because I know that I might be using it. So for instance, in my camera stream here, I picked up, let's see, one of these ones here. I did this one. This is recent. And this came straight from the image of the two gals who did the live event. But I cropped it. I cropped out their faces and just kept that part down below so that I can use this as an image, just like that. I can use this as an image for my Facebook post to preempt an upcoming event. So I like that. Nikken Active Wellness product preview. Now I have something that I can use as a screen cap that I can write information or dates on and have that. So this is pretty useful, I think, information when you're looking to create an impression that your business is a business and it's professional and it's organized. And it really is a very, very inexpensive and cost-effective way of creating an impression that you really got your act together. Any final thoughts or questions on this? Yes, I am recording this, by the way, and I will have it posted for sure. Okay, well, not that many thoughts or questions. Well, this is an amazing month. One of the things I'm sharing with people who are asking more information about the changes in the business, I'm talking about the fact that we are in a window. November, December is a pre-launch window. Come January, Nikken drops a new compensation plan. But there are so many reasons why November and December matter, maybe even more than January, is because of all the incentives in place in November, December to get those advancements in rank to happen now. For instance, anybody who achieves senior not only gets the benefit of the Nikken reward dollars, but they're going to get an automatic promotion to executive come January anyway. People going silver, $1,000 cash bonus. Anybody looking for some extra money for Christmas? These product launches, these are great Christmas ideas, so take advantage of that. So there's so much happening in November, December. I'm referring to it as the pre-launch of the new Nikken. Come January, they drop a new compensation plan combined with all of the incentives in place in November, December. People in January should experience an incredible rise in recognition, in rank advancement, and in income as a consequence of this launch being retroactive for November and December. Big, big news, guys. This is huge stuff. The other thing that I like to point out is the fact, and you may have heard this expression, Dave Johnson repeated it for me, the democratization of our compensation plan. The idea that now more people who are doing the business on a very part-time basis, generating retail sales, can achieve the higher ranks for commission. That makes them more profitable, even if they're just doing retail on a part-time basis. That's huge because that is the majority of the business. The majority of the business is in the hands of people who are not silvers, golds, platinums, diamonds, and royal diamonds. That is exponentially a decreasing number as you go up the ranks. So if you can put more money in the pockets sooner of the people who are at the lower ranks in the business or just getting started in the business, it's really a democratization of the compensation plan. For those of you aspiring to be platinum and above or gold and above, that's good news. That's like being the owner of a franchise business where there's thousands of franchise stores around the country and each one is doing business that's profitable. That's what this compensation shift really does and takes into account. I like the fact that we are retail-centric and our compensation plan is a reflection of that. The other thing I like to talk about is the fact that Nikken is all about natural and organic. And now our compensation plan is natural and organic. In fact, if you look at the compensation plan, you'll notice that, I don't have the image in front of me, but I usually draw a picture where it's, well, just imagine this is one axis. This is the time axis. So this is over time, you sponsor people, but your business looks like this. It's like a curve. And the majority of the business is that big leg. And then you've got a smaller leg, and then you got a bunch of smaller legs, and it's progressively smaller as it goes up like that. That's what it looks like. And I don't care what network marketing business you're in, that's what your business looks like. I don't care what compensation plan you're in, they all look like that. They all look like this huge leg, then it gets skinnier and skinnier as it goes wider. And so that's a natural business. That's a natural progression of your business. And so to have a compensation plan mirror that your advancements in rank are a reflection of, a mirror of what is actually a naturally occurring phenomenon in network marketing, then you're not jumping through hoops that are out of proportion, or that are inappropriate or unnatural, which a lot of us would have had to have done when we were building our businesses, which I think made it very difficult for some people to not only break through those ranks, but maintain those ranks. So here we have a business that our compensation plan now is a reflection of a naturally occurring phenomenon in the network marketing business. I think that's huge. So many reasons why now more than ever is the time to shout it out louder, bigger, bolder, because you really do have something special. And I'm going to probably join my colleagues, Ben and Dave, and Dennis. Dennis is on the line as well. He's done a great job explaining the compensation plan. If you haven't seen his one-pager PDF, you might want to send him an email. That's a phenomenal piece. Really helps explain the comp plan in simple terms on one page. That's been the reaction I've been getting. By the way, I'll give you a couple examples of this. I had a diamond couple on the phone about 2 weeks ago, and they were rank qualified. They were rank diamond, but their pay was platinum, and it was a diminishing process because they were just simply sitting on it and watching it sort of, whittle away without really being too proactive about moving forward. When I finished explaining all these issues that are happening, why this is an exciting time, pre-launch, the incentives, the idea of the comp plan being natural and organic, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, the new products, the new technologies that are high impact, very quick yielding products, the energy shifted somewhat. But then I said, let's take a look. Let's examine the business under the new comp plan, your business. So we looked at their business, and it was really interesting. They met the first test, which is the organizational volume. Oh, and by the way, just for the sake of maybe modifying or correcting the video I did prior about explaining the comp plan, it's really simple. The first metric is, what's that organizational volume? That whole thing, what's it look like? OV. Then if you take away the primary leg, what's left? Is that volume outside of the primary leg bigger than that second test? And then if you take the primary and secondary leg, the volume that remains, which includes your own, is that volume greater than the third test? So the first test is the OV, the second test is outside the primary, and the third test is outside the primary and secondary. So if you look at it that way, first test is OV. Then the second number you're looking to, the second test is 1/3 of the OV. The third test is 10% of the OV. So for instance, a Royal Diamond, the OV is 300. 1/3 of 300 is 100. 10% of 300 is 30. So you remember 300, 100, 30. If it's a diamond, OV is 100. 1/3 of 100 is 33. 10% of 100 is 10. So it's 100, 33, 10. It's an easy way to just remember what the tests are. So anyway, we went through this, and they were diamonds. So I looked at their volume and said, hey, under this new plan, you meet the first test by leaps and bounds. So they've got more than 100 OV. Well done. We looked at the second test, which is removing that primary leg. What's left over? And they were short about 12,000 points on the secondary test. I said, oh, okay. Let's move beyond that one. Now let's look at the third test. We removed the second largest leg, and they actually qualified under the third test. So the only test that they weren't qualified for was the second test, and that was about 12,000 points. Given what we just talked about, do you think you can make up those 12,000 points? And there was tremendous enthusiasm on the phone. You bet. And I said, okay, so what's the difference in your income if you're going from a platinum pay to a diamond in pay? And they said, it'll double. All of a sudden, this new idea and this new comp plan and this new NECAN was a very tempting and exciting situation for them. And they're busy at work marketing and promoting that. And it just took one phone call, one clarity, just some clarification of how things are working, that they got really jacked up and revved up. So take the time to learn, take the time to share with people on your team. Do not assume they understand this or its impact on them, even if they're a diamond. Don't make that assumption. Have that conversation. You may be pleasantly surprised at how many people re-engage, because I was going across Canada meeting a bunch of people who I hadn't seen in years too, who are looking at this and sniffing around and saying, okay, I want to know what's going on. And some are rejoining, some are recommitting, etc. And I think that this is just a trend that you're going to experience in the months ahead, no doubt. So take the time, do the work, put in the effort. It's now worth it more than ever. I want to thank all of you who have been contributing to that, the contribution, Dennis, you've made, and Ben and Dave and others who are on this call who have been really actively trying to campaign and get that word out. Definitely launch your business like there's no tomorrow. I will forward that template to Ben for the product launch if you want to ask Ben to have it available to you for you to download and make your own modifications for your own product launch coming up. We still have another 10 launches in Canada to go for this month. I've got one tonight in Palmerston, Ontario. So busy, busy, busy. That's what I like it. That's how I like it. And by the way, just one last note. I've never been so anxious. I wake up in the morning thinking, what didn't I do? What didn't I do? What didn't I do? It's amazing. I haven't felt like this in a long time, trying to stay ahead of the curve, knowing somehow I'm behind it, but I like it. Anyway, you guys, I hope you're having a great week, great month, and we'll see you soon. Catch you later on the Nikan Highway. Thanks, guys.